Well, good day, good day. Welcome to another episode of the Bobby Brown Show. I'm your host, Bobby Brown. How are you doing today? Still trying to get familiar with the software. Just bear with me. You guys know I'm back in business, so it is what it is. So, what I want to talk about today, and it's very important that I do talk about today, is some things that are going on in this country when it comes to the upcoming elections. And again, bear with me. I'm still trying to learn how to utilize this software to its fullest degree. Um, Still, trying to figure it out. So, um, give me a second. Give me a moment. There we go. All right. So, as you know, I am on a mission to make sure that you know everything you can about these uh, people running for office. I think it's important that you know your candidate past, present, and future. And a lot of people want you to forget about their past. Don't look at their past. The past doesn't matter. And there's a term today that if you haven't learned from the past, you desperately will, or you destined to repeat it in the future if you haven't learned from the mistakes of your past. And the problem is we got too many people who run for office that has a horrible past or a questionable past, and they don't want to learn from it. Matter of fact, they embrace it and they use it as a reason to run for office. And a lot of time it hurts more than help. And have my issues with these just us Democrats, Bernie Sanders, Nina Turner, the squad, political commentators, Cal Kuklinski, Crystal Ball, Sager, sometimes Joy Gray, Bria Joy Gray, especially Sink Uger and Anna. I have a lot of problems with these people because the bottom line, at the end of the day, they're just us Democrats. I don't care if they decide to run from office, Crystal Ball, decide to and lose, decide to run for office, Sink Uger, dropped out because his past caught up with him. And it made people like Bernie Sanders turn it back on him. Bernie Sanders embraced him, turned his back on him. Zephyr Teachout, turned her back on him. Cynthia Nixon here in New York running against Cuomo, turned her back on him. And at the end of the day, these people will turn your back on you. If they turn their back on their own, what do you think they're going to do to you? You think they really got your freaking back? These people are going to get up here and propagandize you to the highest order. For an example, I'm watching an episode of, and look, I used to watch Cal Kuklinski's show. And I catch by being a former subscriber from the past, I never unsubscribed him because I want to hear what he's going to be dishing out next and what Sync is going to dish out next, because somebody got to either push it forward or counterreact. And when it comes to Marianne Williamson, when it comes to Bernie Sanders now Bernie Sanders, when it comes to Joe Biden, I'm going to be doing more pushback than I will ever do push forward, because most of the time these people run for office, they get in a position of power and they either don't do anything or they push you back. Bernie Sanders started off, oh, I didn't support the Iraq war, but you sit up here supporting Ukraine. Now I'm gonna go into a episode where Cal Kuklinski of all people, fanboying. Let me see if I can pull this video up. Cal Kuklinski of all people decides. Well, let's just get into it.
So this is an interesting development, everybody. One, Bernardino Sandersington has
Just him doing that is fanboying. Cal still loves Bernie. He's still his favorite grandpa, the grandpa he always wanted. Now, before I get into, let me go into something about Cal and why I can't listen to Cal on a whole bunch of other reasons. First of all, when Joe Rogan came out saying the N word, he went in defense of Joe Rogan, and he talked about how he used the N word, like he has a pass to use the N word. Going into Joe Rogan's defense, now I got a big problem with that. Instead of you saying, no, it's wrong, shouldn't use it, he admitted to using the word a few times on his own show. And I'm going to pull that up on soon. Not today. Let's look at some couple of reasons why I can't take these just us Democrats, these loft leftists, these boutique liberals, these rich so-called outsiders like Cal Kuklinski, Marianne Williamson, Krystal, why I can't take them serious. We're gonna look into this. I'm gonna show you this. Give me a second. Let me pull it up. Krystal net worth is $3 million. So she's multiple time millionaire. Krystal is a multi-talented American political commentator, certified public accountant, news host, Breaking Point, blah, blah, blah. She is the author of 2 top-rated books, runs as a political action committee, and a senior fellow at the New Leaders Council. Ball is a constituent of the Democratic Party. But yet you want to appear to run an outside campaign in an inside a party. That will never work. All you doing is feeding the party people. It's this hungry monster that likes to eat people up, take everything away from them, their votes and do nothing, their dollars and do nothing. All in the quest of power for them, but no power for the people. That's why I'm in a position I am going to focus on outside. All my money I would rather put into outside organizing versus organizing within the party political structure. You're not getting one red dime from me if you're a politician, even if you put reparations in the forefront. You're likely not to get a dime from me because I shouldn't have to pay you money to get you to demand for reparations for my people who built this country from scratch on nothing but tears, fears, pain, messing up our psyche, the whole 9 yards. I shouldn't have to give you money for you to campaign. I shouldn't have to sit there and tweet back to you, why don't you say something about reparations? Why are you not talking about that more, Nina Turner? How come every tweet I hear is about healthcare, education, but nothing for reparations for your people, foundational Black Americans and Native Black Americans? But you want me to take my dollars and fund you to run a vanity campaign with the slight chance that you may win because Joe Biden is so horrible right now. Kermit the Frog should be able to beat them. And yes, Marianne Williamson should have a chance. Like I say, anybody running should have a chance to beat Joe Biden. But is it the right candidate to beat Joe Biden? We don't want nobody just to beat Joe Biden. We want somebody that's really going to do for the people, especially Black people, the one who's been voting for Democrats more than anybody. It's a doggone shame that you Democrats and you just us Democrat don't look at the people who put you in office more than anybody else. But you're going to talk about all these progressive issues instead of talking about the issues that need to take care of. Some progressive in the Black community, but other things concerning the Black community. Krystal is a millionaire, and she's a Democrat. Cal Kuklinski, a millionaire and a Democrat. What is Cal Kuklinski net worth? Kyle Kuklinski is a social democrat, political commentator. I don't even consider him a social democrat. I consider him just a Democrat. Kyle Kuklinski live in Westchester County, not too far from me. Matter of fact, I'm about 10 minutes away from Westchester County. Graduated from New Rochelle High School. Matter of fact, I can see New Rochelle from my window. Bachelor's degree at Iona College. His affiliation, Anna Kasparian and Sink Junger. I can never say his name right. Founder would Sink Justice Democrats or Just Us Democrats. Net worth, again, let's go back to the network. $2 million. Now I want to ask anybody in here, how many in here, put in the chat, got $200,000 in assets or cash, liquid cash, let alone 2 million. So Krystal and Kyle together is worth almost $5 million. Not to mention the financial ties that Krystal have from her previous marriage, because they done booed up. They done knew Joe Scarborough and Nika Brzezinski. They done booed up now. They done Edge and Lita this relationship. Edge and Lita mean Matt Hardy and Lita had a relationship, and then Edge started going on the road with Lita and ended up breaking Matt Hart. So, but that's not, them being booed up has nothing to do with it. I'm just, it just really tickles me. The gleam in their eye they have of each other and the political camaraderie they have on a host of issues. The fact that they have so much in common. They're both Democrats. They're both wealthy. One's a little older than the other one. Nothing wrong with having an older woman with a little cash, And one got the whip appeal and one don't. One whipped and one appealed. It's clearly the brother's whipped, but that's besides the point. How would you turn your hair blonde, man? Who suggests that? But that's beside the point. Let me get to my story. Let me get back to my story. So I just wanted to show that you got two Just Us Democrats, millionaire Just Us Democrats, trying to convince you who are probably independent, who want to put your third party, who's tired of the conning and scheming, and let's try it again, this time with Marianne Williamson. And again, you think you're going to beat Marianne Williamson is not a Bernie Sanders type person. She's not going to mount up a populist campaign because she's not that popular. Let's get into the article that Kyle had on here. Give me a moment.
Has actually come out and said some positive words when asked about Marianne Williamson. So a reporter for Business Insider says, I asked Senator Sanders and Warren, who both back Biden, about Marianne Williamson's progressive challenge.
So already in this video, Kyle knows that most of the Democrats, especially the so-called outsiders like Elizabeth Warren, the fake $5 Indian lady, I ain't gonna go into that, who ancestor paid $5 to get that land when they really was from Europe, cosplaying as Native Americans. Bernie Sanders, my dad come from Germany with $5. That story's been told all the time just to make black people look bad, that, hey, my dad came here with $5 and made something of himself in New York. What's your issue? At the end of the day, your daddy was white, man. He just admitted that they both support Joe Biden. If you got Bernie Sanders, obviously one of the most popular, in a lot of people's opinion, including Kyle is still a fanboy of Bernie Sanders. He's still holding the jewels of Bernie Sanders, the wrinkle up jewels, to the day he died. He's still gonna be holding his jewels while Bernie Sanders going into the ground. That's how much he loved Bernie Sanders. Just admitted that those two people support Joe Biden? What person in the Democratic Party that's not going to support Joe Biden? You think the squad is going to mount up around Marianne Williamson? But the only person that probably won't mount up around Marianne Williamson is Nina Turner, because she's trying to look like an outsider as much as she can. But her latest action will always show her as just a Democrat.
Bernie said, quote, "I'm sure she's going to run a strong campaign and raise very important issues." And Warren said, quote, "Biden is going to be the Democratic nominee." Okay, so they have a couple more quotes in here, not too many, but let's go through it.
So what Kyle is doing is he's going to look for the quotes that are positive, with progressives talking positive about Marianne Williamson, even though they know that her chance of winning this election is slim to none. I say none to none. I mean, surprise me, but none to none. He's going to always find comments that are positive toward Marianne Williamson. You go to his Twitter right now, and you will see majority of the people in that Twitter feed are concerning Marianne Williamson, arguably going to be positive. And I'm like, why? Why all these positive comments? And the negative comments don't stay there long. Positive comments on Marianne Williamson.
Pick out all the gems. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont offered tepid praise on Tuesday for Marianne Williamson's 2024 presidential campaign, telling Insider at the Capitol that
tepid praise. Which means he's not going to say too much about her that is going to hurt Joe Biden. Your boy, your who you call American favorite granddad, is not going to talk negative about Marianne Williamson, because Marianne Williamson and Bernie Sanders are good friends. So he ain't going to say negative, but he will tell you at the end of the day, it's Joe Biden I'm supporting. I'm not supporting Marianne. And even if he did support Marianne, it's all part of a Broadway play. We outsiders got to stick together. We got to show Marianne Williamson as an outsider. So all us so-called outsiders in the Democratic Party trying to change the Democratic Party got to act like we're supporting Marianne Williamson. But at the end of the day, she lose. We all, as Joe Biden said when it came to Hillary Clinton running for office, we all going to support Hillary. We're all going to support Joe Biden. He's the best choice. And they will consistently tell you, because they're going to always raise the question, if you're not the nominee, will you support Joe Biden? At least Warnock shut his mouth up. Even though you knew he was going to support Joe Biden all day, every day, he didn't give an immediate answer right away. These fools just giving up the answer. They're like, of course I'm going to support Joe Biden. Anybody but a Republican. Dude, Joe Biden is a Republican. All day, every day. He's a Republican. His whole voting system, his whole strategic, execution as senator is Republican. Most of his friends are Republicans. And talking about racists and bigots, most of his friends all through his career has been legendary racists and bigots. Now, how can you call yourself a man of the people and you're hanging with racists and bigots? And you say they call them your friend. They call you boy, son. That's it, son. They call him son. Anyway, let me keep going. But the point is, they all are not going to say negative things about the people running the party. They're not going to say too much negative about Marianne Williamson, because at the end of the day, Marianne Williamson is on the team. And at the end of the day, they know Marianne Williamson, when she lose, I say when, some of you say if, some say she's going to win, and Robert, you're just one of those persons that's trying, saying negative things about her because she is a threat to the Biden administration. Anybody should be able to beat Biden. But see, I'm not a fan of putting anybody against Biden just to beat him. I need somebody that's going to take him out and take Trump out. Because at the end of the day, right now, Trump is looking real good to be our next president. And if he become the next president, it's because of the people you trot out to run for office. Because those Republicans, whether they are MAGA or not, at the end of the day, is going to support Trump over Biden. You got a few Democrats, a few Republicans say they're not supporting Trump, but let Trump get the nomination, see what's going to happen. You think they're going to support Joe Biden? You might get a few breakaway. And they definitely ain't going to support a Marianne Williamson campaign. Get out of here.
He expected her to raise very important issues during the campaign. Williamson, I hate how they just describe her as a self-help author.
That's because she is a self-help author, Cal. She's a self-help motivational speaker, guru, love guru. She's a self-help author. You go read at her many, many books. Let me see if I can find these books. This guy, man. Cal has turned out to be another con to me. Let me see if I can pull up Marianne Williamson's books. Give me a second. All right. All right, so let me bring this up. All right. So it says here, Williams, a self-help author, spiritual leader, and the 2020 president candidate. Cal is upset that they're bringing up this part. You want to know why Cal is upset? Because they're bringing this part. Because it's this part that will be a dagger in her back more than anything. Not talking about the horrible political issues she have, her mindset concerning politics, but it's the spiritual leader, self-help author. That's the part that Kyle is worried about. But let's take a look at this for a second. Give me a moment. Marianne Williamson books. Here's her books. Her recent book that she wants everybody to buy. Every time somebody run for office, they're going to start touting their books. What got me into the Bernie Sanders campaign is one day, I was lost without a candidate to support. So I like, screw them all. I'm definitely not going to support no Republicans. And I ain't supporting no Hillary Clinton. Dang that. I seen her record and how she treated black people. And then smiling in their face at the same time, stabbing them in the back. But Bernie came out with a book, and that book got me on that Bernie Sanders campaign. Politics of Love, a handbook for a new American revolution. She wants y'all to get that book so you can see into her vision for America. But here's other books. Tears to Triumph. Spiritual Keys, Kyle. Spiritual Keys to Healing. Don't get me wrong. I like that kind of stuff. I like self-help books, motivational books. I need stuff to inspire me to go forward in this crazy world. I got nothing against Marianne Williamson as a spiritual author. I got something against her running the country. Stay in your lane. Write books. Continue to do sermons and stuff like that. I have problems with preachers running for office. Stay in your lane. You have a congregation to run. Political affairs, because did God tell you to run for office? If you believe in a God, did he tell you to run for office? Or are you doing that because they pick you to run for office? I got a problem with these people who have this lane that they're in and they're good at it, but you want to step out of that lane and get it like me. I don't want Trump to be running for office. Trump need to go back to doing what he was doing. He was good at it. Even though I'm not a fanboy of Trump, he's good at it. Writing good books, even though he probably had a ghostwriter, and building businesses all over New York and taking care of your workers. Because at the end of the day, not too many people work for Trump, don't like him. People here in New York love Trump. I taught Trump Towers is hiring. And I talked to some people at Trump Towers and they said, look, Trump take care of us. The average tenure at Trump Towers is 10 years. Nobody quits that job. So say what you want about the man, he take care of his workers. He'll probably do more so taking care of his workers than even the unions. But let me get back to this. Marianne Williamson, Tears of Triumph, A Return to Love, A Law of Divine Compensation. I guess this is Healing the Soul of America, Years of Miracles, The Gift of Change, The Age of Miracles, Everyday Grace, Illuminata. For those who believe in the Illuminati. Illuminata. Why would you write a book called Illuminatas? Thought, Prayers, Rites of Passage. Enchanted Love, the mystical powers of intimate relationship. Nothing wrong with intimate relationship. Nothing wrong with love, but using the word mystical, enchanted can bite you in the political run. The Course on Weight Loss. Lord knows I need to read that book. A Woman's Worth Toward a More Enlightening Feminism. We can go all day. CDs, audiobooks. Handling Fear, Letting Go, Becoming Mystical Powers. Like I said, when it comes to this arena, I have no beef with Marianne Williamson in this arena. None at all. That's your thing. We need people to inspire us to be better and self-help. They got to do with war and dealing with other countries and geopolitical. Come on. Back to Cal.
I don't think that fully encapsulates her or is fair. Williamson, a self-help author.
I don't think that fully it is fair. It fully describes who she is. This is who she have been since day one. She is a spiritual guru to Hollywood elitists, political elitists, powers that be, nationally and all over the world. They have sought Marianne Williamson for counsel and advice. And is it good counsel and good advice? Probably so, but that's just her thing. Multiple times on Oprah Winfrey. She is a Hollywood elitist, another millionaire running in the Democratic Party, another just a Democrat.
Author, spiritual leader, and 2020 presidential candidate, is currently the only well-known Democrat to officially launch presidential campaign. President Joe Biden is widely expected to announce a re-election bid, but has yet to officially do so. Sanders has said he will support Biden if he seeks re-election and told Insider on Tuesday that he doesn't want to speculate about Williamson's chances.
And he's not. You know why? Because at the end of the day, in the Democratic bylaws, this has nothing to do with political commentators or the news. At the end of the day, the Democrats has in their policy to not to try to dump on your political opponent, but you can dump on his method of politicking. Don't dump on him personally, but politic-wise, you could dump on the way he handled this issue and they handled that issue and stuff like that. And you see Marianne Williamson, she'll say something about how Joe Biden handled this situation, but she won't say nothing about Joe. She's not going to politically attack Joe. She won't even politically expose Joe because the Democratic Party consider that attack. When you expose another Democratic weaknesses and failures, that is attack on a Democrat, period. It's just like with Matt TV and these Twitter files. You expose Democrats, you're enemy. And whenever you expose a Democrat in a Democratic Party, even as a Democrat, Matt TV is pretty much a Democratic, we're going to expose you and call you a enemy. So no, they're not going to be going full throttle in the party to expose her, but the media will go after it all day and all night because they consider you an enemy now because you're running against the sitting president.
So in other words, they tried to prod Bernie to be like, hey man, hey, come on, she doesn't have much of a chance, right? Right? That's what I get out of that. And Bernie didn't take the bait. He said, look, I'm not going to speculate about her chances. But Williamson endorsed Sanders.
Bernie don't supposed to take the bait. No Democrat's supposed to take the bait. Again, that's part of the policy. They wouldn't even allow you to run for office, to file the paperwork and run for office, because that's in the that's in the campaign bylaws. If you're going to campaign against another opponent, you can't hit them on them. You can hit their issues that maybe you're running against, but you can't hit them. You can't talk about how they're a failure at this and this and this and that. And Marianne Williamson, she can't say nothing. I like Joe Biden. I like Joe Biden. Well, let me tell you something. I don't, because I know what he did to my people during the 90s. And he have not repented. And to this day, he reinforced. He's trying to put more money in the police department to fund more of these super cops, these super gang cops into the neighborhood to do what they did to that brother down there in Mississippi. And I'm going to talk about Mississippi soon and them trying to change the laws where the state get to pick the judges, not you. And they're going to pick these judges, predominantly white judges, to look over the black neighborhoods and to judge black people in the neighborhood instead of their own. So what Kyle is trying to do here in this situation is trying to make Marianne look like an outsider. Trying his best. See, Bernie's not going to say nothing about her. He's not going to take the bait. See, he's not going to take the bait because he really knows that, he's not going to say it in front of Joe, but he knows that Marianne Williamson is the best chance of defeating Joe Biden, his good friend, but he can't appear to be biased. Man, get out of here. Man, if you don't get your butt out of here, man, get out of here with that stuff, Kyle. See? He didn't take the bait.
Sanders in 2020 after dropping out of the campaign, and he indicated a respect for her that other Democrats haven't shown. Quote, I know Marianne.
Other Democrats have not shown respect for Marianne just because they support Joe Biden and believe that Joe Biden is going to be the guy. So that's a sign of disrespect because they're going to support Joe Biden. They're supposed to support the sitting president. That's in their rules, Kyle. You know this. They're not going to appear to be biased. They're going to say great things about the opponent because the opponent is running in a party. Now, did they do that about Bernie Sanders? Well, no, I don't think they trashed Bernie Sanders. They just said that Hillary Clinton is going to be our nominee and we're going to side with Hillary Clinton. We're going to support Hillary Clinton. Bernie's a good guy, but, at the end of the day, we're supporting this. That's just the way it always been, and you know it. You know this.
I'm sure she's going to run a strong campaign and to raise very important issues. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, by contrast, was firm in her support for Biden when asked about Williamson's campaign. I think that President Biden is going to be the Democratic nominee and he's going to be reelected, said Warren, saying she supported Biden because he's accomplished a tremendous amount in the last 2 years and he's got real momentum.
Like what? See, these kooky people, these people claim that they're fighting for you. Oh, he's done some great things. What? This fool almost getting us on the verge of a nuclear war because he's determined to make sure his buddy Ukraine have the edge. They're not going to allow Ukraine to be defeated in this impossible war with Russia. Because right now, Russia is just playing games, man. If Russia want to really, really lay down the hammer, they can. But the problem is, if they lay down the hammer, NATO is just going to find a reason to cause another World War III. And they don't want that. I really believe Russia don't want that. I don't think nobody wants World War III except somebody who ain't got that much long to live themselves. It's like, it's like, look, tell me I got life sentence when I'm 90 years old. Don't... Dude, I'm lucky I make it to 91. You tell me I got 10 years or a life sentence don't mean nothing to me. I'm almost 100 years old, man. Some people in this world, they would rather see the world burn than you beat them. You defeat them. They'd rather see the world burn than you hand them a defeat. And right now, Joe Biden is doing whatever he can to prop up Ukraine because, this whole Ukraine thing goes way back when his son was working there. But we're not going to go into that. I don't know what these people got on Joe Biden and his son, but it's going to cause us all to die if Joe Biden don't stand back, fall back. and stop this foolishness and stop asking you for money. And these politicians, these Democrats, just as Democrats like Bernie Sanders and all of them sitting up here supporting the war and is okay with more military funding, but claim to be a peace candidate. Man, you kiss a piece of anyway.
Momentum to keep on delivering for the American people. See, this is classic politician BS. First of all, the idea of he's got momentum to keep delivering. Hello, the Republicans just won the House. That means you have zilch momentum. You have no momentum. Like, you're going to get nothing done. The best you could do is, like, block movement in the wrong direction.
And the reason the Republicans won the House is before there's so many reasons why Republicans won the House. A lot of people in America are not down with these so-called progressive when they're really not progressive. They're just left, far left, super far left ideologies. Most of the country is not ready for that. Big cities may be ready for all this crazy, all this stuff that's going down. This, and I can go through a list of them, but if I go through a list of them, you'll probably look at me as a hater. Most of America is not ready for this stuff. And when you're pushing that, they're going to push back. Contrary to what you believe, there's a lot of people believe that's pro-life. There's a lot of people that's traditional marriage. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of people that say, hey, close our borders because you letting everybody in here and you haven't even checked their paperwork. And you're trying to do whatever they can to erase the power of the black vote. Because if you let anybody vote, people who are not even citizens vote, then we don't need you black people in your power because we can go to them now. Forget you. We call it the buffer class. Republicans got plenty of reasons why they'll win. Plenty of reasons why a lot of independents would rather go that way to the right than left. You giving them reasons to go. You are. And you're doing this crazy stuff like censoring speech. You're pushing war, nuclear war. You're taking our hard-earned money and giving it to people in other countries. And it's people down here homeless, can't find a decent job. And if they work a decent job, they're getting paid crap. And they got to deal with bull crap laws that give the bosses the edge over the employee. There's no workforce democracy, none of that stuff. And you wonder why they're going to the right. Well, the right not going to give us that. Well, they can give us something. You guys off the hinges. Somebody asked me, Rob, well, what do the right have to offer you? Bro, you really don't want to know. And I'm an independent who mostly vote Democrat. But I can see some things that they do that I can get down with. Like, I'm not down. I'm tired of these long-term. We need term limits. You shouldn't be in Congress, go to Congress at 35 years old, and you still in Congress and you 175. That's crazy. Still in Congress, barely can move. You shaking and barely can speak. You've been there too long. You need to go home. Go play with your great-great-grandkids now. You ain't get time to play with your kids, your grandkids. All you got is your great-great-great-grandkids, and you need to go home and spend some time with them before you check out, because you can check out any day.
And even to the idea that he accomplished a tremendous amount. Look, I'll give credit where it's due. He's certainly been the best president of my lifetime. He's to the left of Obama. He's to the left of Bill Clinton. He's obviously to the left of Donald Trump and George W. Bush. But
all right, I haven't seen these comments up here. When it comes to reparations, you don't have to go through no ancestry. You can go right through your own local family records to prove that you're a foundational Black American or Native Black American. You can go through. That's all that's required for what we call reparations. Obviously, whoever made that statement don't know anything about what the Black grassroots movement is pushing concerning reparations. There's white elitist version of reparations. Their politics version of reparation, which include Black politicians, and then there's the street version of reparation. And we're not going to give them anything if they don't give us the street version of reparation. We already determined what's needed to get reparations in this country for the hard work that our ancestors have done. We have registry, we have documents, slave papers. All the way, I mean, that's all available. And the only thing they can do to stop us from proving that is to destroy that. And I wouldn't doubt they wouldn't do anything possible to destroy those records. DNA ain't gonna be enough for them, Doc, but those records will. Well, let me keep going, man. DNA can help, but it's not the straw to get us reparations.
But I wouldn't say it's a tremendous amount. I'd actually say, in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that much. He's a status quo tweaker, as I call them. So anyway, and they go on to say here, they quote some of Marianne Williamson's launch speech and things of that nature. Now, we talked about this yesterday a little bit in the context of the Progressive Caucus embarrassing themselves and rushing to endorse Biden before he even announces his campaign yet.
Now, let me say this straight. And folks, you got to get in on this. There's no such thing as Progressive Caucus in the Democratic Party. We got to let it be known that, and I don't know how you take the word progressive back. Progressive don't mean a Democrat that has some social ideas. Progressive, being a progressive is not a political term. It's an ideology. And the Democratic Party has been trying to claim that ideology for their own in order to get progressives to support them, because there's a lot of people on the left and the right identify as progressives. They believe in progressing certain issues forward instead of backwards. But majority of them has no affiliation. Majority of progressives are not affiliated with a party, but yet the Democratic want to claim the name progressive caucus, blah, blah, blah. Check how these people ain't no progressives. Just because they run under Just Us Democrats don't make them progressives. They may have some progressive ideology, but don't make them progressive. Stop trying to let these people tag progressive, the progressive name tag, to a political party. Don't let nobody do that. Has nothing to do with partyism. It's an ideology, it's a mindset, and they don't own it.
And here are my thoughts. Like, I understand if you're a politician, you're in DC, you're trying to have influence, you're trying to get some of the stuff that you want done.
Okay, I may let me stop.
I understand it's a pickle. If you endorse somebody who's an outsider who has very little chance of winning, you're giving away all of your influence. You're not going to get a committee position, which means you can't shape policy. You can't call in favors from leadership. So you basically...
Oh yeah. Also remind some of you guys, you're going to get bots in here that's going to be pro Marianne Williamson, Democrat bots. You're going to get them to try to say something against my commentary or whatever. I don't care, but dear, check your record, brah. Check the record. I'm bringing you documentation. I just brought you everything that Kyle is talking about up here. I could pretty much tell them the reason why people think that way and why they're going to continue to think that way. Because I don't care what people always say that, well, this person pushes this and they're for this and that. Kamala Harris was for all that. They only do that for clout chasing. They only do that to try to get you on their bandwagon. I'm for this. I'm for that. I'm for this. Oh, really? Then I like you. That's all part of that. And when it come time to execute and all this stuff, they don't do it. The squad did all that stuff, and when it came time to vote for it or to push for it, they cowered down. I'm for Medicare for all. We're for Medicare for all. I signed the bill. I'm on the paperwork for Medicare for all. But when it came down to pushing aggressive to have it voted for on the floor, they all cowered and punked out. So that don't mean jack. If you want to sit there and believe that, oh, they for this and this and this and that, nah, you go ahead and believe that, but you're going to get clowned all day, every day. You're going to get clowned because they're going to disappoint you always. When it's time to really put the heat and put the feet to the floor to make this thing happen, they're going to cower it down and look at you like you're the enemy for bringing it up because you forcing them to vote for something. You doggone right. I'm forcing you to vote for it. And if you don't, I'm going to vote you out of office.
Basically, might shoot yourself in the foot and get none of the things that you're trying to get, right? Like, I understand that's difficult. But the principled thing to do is to say, who do I agree with more on their policy agenda? I will endorse that person. None of these people are going to be principled. So then the semi-principled thing to do is to just kind of sit back and say, you know what? I'm not going to rush out there and endorse Biden. I just won't say anything. I'll just let the race play out, and then whatever happens, I will react accordingly.
Now, that's what Kyle wants. He wants progressives not to say nothing. Don't endorse Biden. Don't push Biden. Just don't say nothing. That way, Marianne Williamson can get a chance to get some momentum. Just don't say nothing. This is Kyle's dream. This is his wish, his hope. And he's using this commentary. And don't get me wrong, Kyle is good at commentary. That's how I got on it way back in the day, back before the Bernie Sanders day when Kyle was pretty much a kid. Commentary was decent. And he's trying to convince you that those who speak for Biden is anti Marianne Williamson, which means the person to vote for should be Marianne Williamson. Anytime you got the media propping up the establishment and dumping on the outsider, that's funny. Every time I hear that, Marianne Williamson, outsider, she smooths with the Clintons, man. She is no outsider. She's one of top Oprah's, top 5, top 10 advisors. She's no outsider. She's a millionaire, Hollywood elite millionaire who making bank off these Hollywood elitists, millionaire, and these political leaders, millionaires as a spiritual advisor. She's not a spiritual advisor to Louis Farrakhan or somebody like that from the streets. She's not a spiritual advisor to them. Claude Anderson. She's not a spiritual advisor. It's always these Hollywood boutique elitists, leftists. And I'm quite sure she probably smoothed up with some Republicans too. But Kyle don't want you to know this, and he'll probably shame anybody for listening to somebody who exposed this. Just another Democrat.
That's semi-principled. Because at least you're not, actively slobbing the knob of somebody who you disagree with on more things.
In other words, Kyle's saying, if you talk about Marianne Williamson and prop up Joe Biden, you're not principled. Or if you just automatically say that you're going to support Biden and you're not principled. In other words, if you don't give our candidate a chance to make a name for themselves, state their claim for this position of power, if you don't give them the chance to, if you dump on them, expose them, or do anything like that, you're not principled. In other words, he agreed that what's in the bylaws with the Democratic Party, where you can't say anything negative about your opponent is a principled position. And I say it's not principled, because if they did something, you say it. Because if I was running for office, which I would never do, and I thought about having people interviewing people on this show, which I would not, because I can't. It's hard for me to tame my tongue. I live in New York, and I've been here for a while. I've learned to smell BS. I can spot a mile away, probably 10 miles away. And this right here, this whole commentary that Kyle is doing is BS. He wants to do it. He advised her to run. He's propping her to run. He's a Justice Democrat. Him and his boo, his girlfriend, is going to down and trash talk anybody who is not for her, not on the side of her running, not going to support her, not going to finance her, not going to push her campaign on their platforms and things like that. Anybody that's anti Marianne Williamson has lost their mind. If you anti Marianne Williamson and you talking about taking your money and your support to support a third party, you're crazy. You lost it. It's falling for the same old Democratic bull crap to keep people in the party. That third party is going to take too long, and that's what they're doing right here. I'm not falling for it. You can fall for it. I know it's a lot of people like me that's not going to fall for that bull crap. I am not putting one red dime in the Marianne Williamson campaign. I'm not putting one red dime in the Biden campaign, and I'm not putting one red dime in a Trump campaign or a Republican campaign. Because at the end of the day, all these people are BSers. They're going to act like they're on your side. They're going to support whatever you want just to try to get $1 in support out of you. And when they get elected, they're going to disappoint you. Rob, it's legendary. Name me when they have not did it. Look here, I need your vote. And black people, I got your back. First thing he do in office is support the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which predominantly supported people like his mom and not supported people that he organized for in Chicago. But I need your vote. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on, Pookie, pull your pants up. Let's go. No. Tired of the BS. And you doggone right. I'm spending all my energy, time, and what little money I have to help out the homeless, to try to fund after school programming. Because AOC ain't did it for us yet here in New York. Jamal Bowman haven't did it for us yesterday. So I'm taking my personal money and putting it into those organizations on the ground versus propping up another candidate. Because this whole thing ain't nothing but a money laundering scheme to get your dollars for power, and they're not going to do nothing for you, but yet they want to prop up the next person to do that and look at you like you a fool. You lost your mind because you're supporting that guy over this guy, when actually I ain't supporting either one of these fools.
So Bernie, again, is in a tough position because, he has some sway with the Biden administration, and he's the one who wrote Build Back Better. I mean, he was most responsible for writing Build Back Better. Now, ultimately, we only got the IRA because of Manchin and Sinema and Biden's inability to fight. But he does have some sway in this administration.
All right, I'm going to say this real quick. All part of the game. He's going to act like he's for it, but Biden and but Manchin and Sinema is Biden beard. They're there to do what Biden wants to do, but can't appear to do it because he need to be reelected. Biden is not for none of that crap. He got to act like he's for it. He's not against it, but he's really not for it. He's against it, but he got to act like he's for it. So he have his proxies there to block the progress of that, because that's what he would do if it was to hit his table. That's what he would be forced to do if it hits his table. God forbid something that Biden hates get approved and hit his bill, hit his table. Now he's forced to either write it in his law or veto it. Because he already said, if you put Medicare for all on my desk, I'm going to veto it. Well, people say, well, if Marianne Williamson is the president, she might not veto it. Oh, you really believe that? She might not. She might not. I don't know. They all talk a good game, but when it comes down to getting something done on it, they fail. They fail. And I'm not waiting for them to fail again. I got other stuff I need to focus my mind and my money on, and it's not these fools to disappoint you once again, or me once again.
So from his perspective, he's like, well, shit, I feel like I got to endorse Biden, or else I'm giving up my influence, which means I'm giving up my policy preferences, etc. But even being in what I would argue is probably a tougher position than the Progressive Caucus, because Bernie is closer with Biden than the Progressive Caucus is with Biden.
Democratic Caucus?
He still is good enough to say some tepidly kind things about Marianne Williamson. And look, my guess is a lot of this has to do with the fact that Marianne Williamson, when she dropped out of the race, endorsed Bernie Sanders. And so Bernie knows, hey, Marianne is like more on board with my policy agenda than Biden is. And so, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, Bernie Sanders endorsed Biden. So what? So what?
Credit to Bernie for saying some basic kind words about Marianne, taking her seriously, refusing to be like, she has zero chance. Another reason why he might say that, by the way, is because remember, when he launched his campaign in 2016, you know what his first poll was? 4%. You know what Marianne's first poll is? 4%. So they're starting at the exact same.
And you know what it is today? 4%. And you know what it's going to be next month? Probably 4%, unless they cook the poll numbers, which they always do. Poll numbers are not, you don't ever trust the polls. The polls will get you all the time. They had the polls, Hillary Clinton killing Trump, but at the end of the day, Trump killed her. So that polls don't mean nothing. Get out of here with that mess, especially when you're in control of the polls.
Place. And Bernie remembers how all of the political establishment, acted like he's got no shot, he's a joke, it's pathetic, it's sad. And then he ended up getting 47% of the vote in the primary and made a phenomenal run at it. And that's with the DNC putting their thumb on the scale against him. So
now, it wasn't Bernie Sanders, it was his platform. Now, Bernie Sanders, in his aggressiveness to push that platform, got him to where they're going and got a lot of people to buy in. Nobody's buying into Marianne Williams, man. Nobody. I don't know people from my hood that's going to buy into Marianne Williamson. It's just not going to happen. It's one of these cases where you're good over here. Stay over there. Not saying, nothing against you here, but stay over there. Stay in your lane. We need somebody that's really going to take this thing serious. And like I say, at the end of the day, anybody should be able to beat Biden. That's how horrible Biden is and always been. I don't see. That's why I was upset. At the time I was upset at Bernie Sanders because he dropped out so quick and fast. Because I'm like, yo, man, you keep going until you can't go no more. And he dropped out so quick, claiming that I'm putting people at risk going out to vote in this pandemic and using the pandemic as an excuse for him to drop out of the race and fully support Joe and expecting you to do the same thing, looking for any reason to sheepdog you in. And I don't doubt this case in this situation with Marianne Williamson. At the end of the day, if she loses, which is highly likely to happen, she's going to push you to vote for another Democratic. Because at the end of the day, all of them, Marianne Williamson, Bernie Sanders, the squad, Joe Biden, all of them, whether on a higher level or lower level, they're all Democrats. And it's always about Democrats and Republican, and you need to choose one of us. Get in line, fall in line. Bro, I'm over here trying to build a whole nother line. You can take your line and stick it up your behind. There's more important issues that my money and time need to be into. More issues, especially here in New York. We ain't got time to be playing no games, these politicking games where you're going to trot out a politician that probably don't even know nothing about what's going on here in New York, even those who are from New York. I've got an AOC face many a times about the after school programming here in New York, leaving kids out here to fend for themselves after they get out of school. Instead of putting them somewhere where they can thrive and progress and learn and become better as a citizen, you leave them to be victims of the street because they have nothing to do after they get out because their mom working 2-3 jobs or pops. You worrying about a railroad track here and there when kids out here are clueless on what to do now they're out of school besides their homework. You got to put kids in a position where, anyway, that's another subject. Let me get off that. I take this thing serious. This politicking thing, I'm serious. You want my time, my dollars. You want me to make phone calls. I've done all that. I've made phone calls. I spent my time knocking on doors. I spent money that I didn't have on these campaigns, especially that 2016 campaign. I took time off my schedule to go here, to go there, to push here, to push there. I've done all that for you to cow down and quit and say, hey, I'm not going to run independent and mount up a third party effort. I'm going to cave in and I'm going to support the person who I've been talking about as an enemy all this time. I'm going to go ahead and side with them. I'm that type of person. I'd rather die in this battlefield than join an army that don't like me. And I'm not talking about Ukraine and their views on black people, but that's something to talk about too. No, I'm done with it.
So that's another reason why he may be kind, and not speculating on the low numbers, et cetera, et cetera. But look, it's good he comes out and he gave like some positive words about Marianne. I will say though, I still would prefer and would respect even more if he at least did the semi-principled thing and was like, I'm just not going to endorse Biden. I'm just going to sit out, right? And then let whatever happens, and then react accordingly. And then if Marianne shows some life and she gets to, whatever, let's say 35%, 40% in the polls.
Well, she ain't going to ever get Kyle, so stop dreaming, Doc. Stop dreaming. At least Bernie had some fire and he brought something to the table. She ain't bringing no fire. She's a fire extinguisher. Just the way she talked to people, the condescending way she talked to people. And I know better than you, and you need to listen to me. She did that with Claudine. Well, she did that with Solidarity. She did that with Tone. She do that with a lot of black people. A lot. Well, I have my view and you have your view, and we all have a piece of the truth. That kind of crap. She did that with RBN. Oh, we all have a piece of the truth. We all don't have a monopoly on truth. Oh boy. Look, guys, thank you for being on. This is my point. This is my final thought on this particular video. Cal Kuklinski want to be the person, take credit and take responsibility for being the person who motivated Marianne Williamson to run. We got it on video, him and his boo asking Marianne Williamson to run, and Marianne Williamson eating up that praise. Thank you. You're smart. You're intellectual. What if he said you shouldn't run? Then she would have took offense to it. I don't think you should run. But because he said, I think you should run, she was happy. She found a friend. And now she's trying to find more friends. She'll probably get TYT on the side. Let me tell you something. If TYT support a candidate is just like CNN supporting a candidate. I don't want nothing to do with you. Because all of you are Democrats. And at the end of the day, you're going to support a Democrat because that's just how you do. Because this is a gang, and whoever decides to take the lead in the gang, we're going to support them. We may have somebody that's up and coming in the gang, but at the end of the day, this is our leader. And I'm not for no gang politics. I'm an independent individual that vote based on your past, present, and future, what you've done for not just my community, starting with my community, and working your way to other communities. If I haven't seen you do major things in my community, push for major policies for my people, when we put you in that seat in the first place in the majority, then I don't want to have nothing to do with you. I'm not giving you a second chance. Look here, vote for me in the next 4 years and I got black people back. No. Yeah, you got us in the back. You stabbed us. Oh, I'm going to be out of office and I'll be able to start this and start that and do more for my community. This is not your community. Your mom is white Kansas and your dad is black Kenyan. You have no affiliation with the grassroots of black America. You don't. Your daddy never considered himself a black American because he wasn't. Your mama is a white American. And people don't want to touch these subjects because it's the truth. You never really had no real eager heart for the soul of the black community. You had to go to you had to leave New York and go down to be a Chicago organizer. And that was your first taste of what goes on in the black community. And I'm glad it motivated you to want to do more. But once you got that seat of high power, it just went out the door. And the record proves this. Same thing with Kamala Harris. Half Asian, probably 25% of black. But when she wants to come to us, she started bouncing and doing this black girl magic, super girl magic, stuff like that when around us. But when she's away from us, she's straight Asian, Polynesian. She's a Brahmin Indian in majority. And my thing is, don't come over here acting like you sister girl, black. I'm majority black and have us buy into your blackness when most of the time you're Asian. Nothing wrong with that. I'll support an Asian for office if they got the black community at heart. It don't matter what color you are, but don't come to me posing when we really know this is you over here. That stuff ain't working no more. Kyle and anybody else in YouTube land, it ain't working with my community. We're breaking off. In order for us to break in, you're going to have to come to us and offer us something. These freebies ain't going on. It's not going down that. I don't care what you support. You sending me a paperwork or what you support don't mean jack. If I haven't seen you do no work in my community, you can step off. You and your $1 million leftist policy and you and your $1 million right policy, step off. You don't know what's going on over here. That goes for AOC and I. AOC don't know the hood. She's from the same county as Kyle Kuklinski. She comes from the same affluent neighborhoods of Westchester. She ain't Bronx girl, Bronx man. She ain't that. She ain't Lily Jenny from the block. And don't let her fool you. And then when she get on TV, she started talking that, using her hard Puerto Rican accent, and she ain't got nothing to do with that. Latina, we Latina. Stop. That's offensive to real Latinos in the hood. Trying to pose like you one of them and you're not. Sick and tired of this stuff, man. Be who you are, but show that you really care. Be who you are. If you never walked around with that kind of talk, don't start talking like that. I'm so in love with you. Or Barack Obama singing. Look here. Black community goes to a church and try to placate to our feelings when you never identified with that. Even when you was here in New York at Columbia University, you didn't hang out in Harlem like that. You didn't go to the Bronx. You went up there to the yuppie neighborhoods over there near NYU and all that. Get out of here. Then you go to Chicago and now you got a little pimp in your step. And you go to all black church. And when you got a real one, Jeremiah Wright, a real one that they made look like a hate man, a hate group, when he just spoke some truth. Anyway, I'm done. Kyle Kuklinski, fanboy. At the end of the day, this whole point of this video is these guys are Democrats. In the Democratic bylaws, they're not going to crap on Marianne Williamson. They're not going to say anything against her, or they're going to say, hey, she got this. They're going to say some good things about her, but at the end of the day, we're going to support Joe Biden. Don't act like this is something, that this is nuanced, that see, this shows she's the real one because he stop. They're not going to say anything negative about her because that's part of the bylaws. Not yet. Not until they get in debate. Not until there's some real running going on. Then they'll start exposing the weakness of each other. But Marianne Williamson is not going to expose too much of the weakness of Joe Biden because at the end of the day, I like Joe Biden. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. What? Bylaws make them have to say that. But I honestly believe she thinks he's a good guy. The man decimated my community with that crime bill and have not repented to this day and trying to reinforce a new crime bill to reinforce it. The guy's crapping on defunding the police like we actually want to take money out of the police department to bankrupt them. No, we're just telling you to refund your money somewhere else. Defund it over here and fund it over there. That's what defund the police really mean. You put all these money in these secret super cops. You're not putting it over here in mental health development for the cops who go through trauma, seeing their partner get his head blowed off. And now they got psychic issues. You're not putting no money to help them. You're not teaching them how to deal with people with mental capacities or how to know when they're really threatened or not so they don't off trigger shoot somebody just because they got a screwdriver in their hand. And that happened. Guy actually fixing his mama doorbell. Turn around, cops see the screwdriver and they shoot him. But you don't see that in the news. Because they're so paranoid. Money not going to the mental health of the police department. Anyway, I'm done. These guys are Democrats. And the people who are pushing these Democrats, most of these Democrats running for office are wealthy. They're not outsiders. You check the record. And for the commentators up here who don't like what I'm saying, you go check her record. Where have her foundation been? Hollywood. Advisor to stars. Author with multiple books, millions of dollars, which is okay. Spiritual guru. Invited, paid big money to go speak here and speak there. If that's your thing, if people want to spend the money, I ain't got no problem with that. You're good at what you do. But not only spiritual advisor to Hollywood elitists, but spiritual advisor to political elitists like the Clintons. But you want them to be outsiders. Man, you don't take care of someone else with that stupid mess, man. I'm Bobby Brown with the Bobby Brown Show. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, put it on always. If you want to support the stream, I got a job, but if you want to buy brother a drink or something, hot dog, soda, whatever, a couple dollars here and there, go to PayPal. Don't do it through, never do it through Super Chat. Yeah, just share the stream. And again, guys, I love you. I just don't, I don't like a bunch of BS, man. I don't. I can't tolerate it. That's why I can't have people on, now I got the capability to have people on the show. I'm just not that dude, man, because I'm liable to say something, man, that's going to piss you off. She can't take heat. She can't take challenge. Somebody challenge her. She can't tell somebody that if somebody tell her she's wrong, she's going to say, I'm not wrong. We both have, both of us don't have a monopoly of truth. I'm right. You're right. I'm right to run in the Democratic Party, change it. You have a right to run third party. I say we need to get in there. Get in there what? At the end of the day, you got to support the warmongering, non-working class, non-supporter of black people nominee, Joe Biden. You're going to support him at the end of the day, just like you're ready to support Hillary Clinton at the end of the day. Hillary Clinton was your girl. You wasn't against Hillary Clinton. She was on Hillary Clinton's side, y'all. I'm out of here. Peace. All right. Peace. I'm trying to stop this thing. There we go.